Hi, I'm Amalie with Systematic Excellence Consulting, and today I'm going to go over some examples of how to use ClickUp for personal use. So this is one of the things that I've seen questions about, and so I just came up with some examples of how you could potentially use ClickUp for personal use. If you have other questions of different ways to use it for personal use other than what I'm going to show you, feel free to put them in the comments because I can always make another video going over my take on whatever it is you're trying to organize in ClickUp. So if there's something that I don't mention here but you would like to see, feel free to put that in the comments. Also, before we get started, if you give us a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to catch our future videos. But let's go ahead and dive in. So the first personal use case I have is a to-do list. So this would be, in my mind, personal beyond what you're maybe managing in the business. So you can use this as in a list view or board or even a calendar view. Now, I set this up yesterday. What I can do is just mark that complete, and I have it set as recurring, so it's gonna go ahead and create the new task for me. You can look at it in calendar view. For me personally, when the best way to look at the calendar and what I have going on for the day is from the home view. So that's really where I would go to see it, is right here in home. And then you can integrate your Google Calendar with. Now, I personally don't sync the tasks to the Google Calendar because then your Google Calendar can look a little crazy depending on how much you have in there. But this is just our test account, but I do sync our events with the calendar in ClickUp. So then I can start to see what I have due. If I put dates on the different items here. What I did is I actually forwarded some emails or made tasks from emails out of the Chrome extension. So I have the Chrome extension. Now I go over how to set this up, integrations and Chrome extensions in other videos, but I have the Chrome extension. So when I go into my inbox in my email, a little ClickUp symbol will show up and I can just create a new task right inside of my inbox. So instead of now you do have the option to email. You do have the option to email the list, which is fine, but then you have to remember the email instructions. So for me, I have the Chrome extension. It follows me to every web page I'm on. If I'm in my email, I can just click it and create a new task. And so that's exactly what I did. So I just pulled over some marketing emails that we got, and I just put read email in front of it, and then the email down here is there. And so then it's going to show me the email. And then if I need to respond to this email, I can just email from right inside of ClickUp, excuse me, and then any conversation back and forth will live inside of this task. And so maybe if it's in the to-do, but I need to actually email this person, I'll leave it in progress while I'm waiting for them to respond or get back to me about something. And then I can move it to complete. Excuse me. Or I can move it to complete, and once I'm done, or move it to another project or whatever. But if I want to have a personal to-do list, like I said, I can do that from in here. Again, I forwarded another email or made a task from another email. You have the doctor's appointment. So, and this doesn't have to be to-do and progress complete. It could just be to-do and complete, whatever you prefer. I just wanted to show an example of a way that you could create a to-do list. So instead of your email being your to-do list, this could become it. And it's really easy to send emails from your email inbox to your to-do list. Now, if you have some recurring things like checking your email or other things that you have that you want to set as your normal to do, then you can, set those as recurring like I did with check email. And you can use any of the views with this. I just prefer to see it in a list view. Okay, so the next one I have is meal planning. So this is just an idea of how maybe you could utilize ClickUp for meal planning. So my recommendation and how I have this set up, I'm just going to go to the statuses here, is I have meal ideas as a not started status, meaning it's not active. There's no action being taken or anything like that. And the active statuses are meals for the week and grocery list for the week. And then complete. So what I was thinking is as you start to come up with ideas for recipes or whatever, you can create a task and then you can just pull from them. And what I did inside of here, because I want to give credit to where I pulled this from. So nourishplate.com is the website for the recipe. I did copy and paste it and put it here. You don't have to do that. I just did that. And then I put the recipe right here so that it'll open up to the recipe. I actually made this recipe. It's really good. Okay. Anyway, so that is what I did. So then what I did for the ingredients for my shopping list, I went through and said, okay, which ones do I not have? Which ones do I need? And then you can put due dates on these of when maybe you're going to cook them or when you're going to eat them. So what you could do is start date, like maybe, you could do a start date or a due date. So if I say, okay, I'm going to cook this, maybe I always cook on Sundays, but we're going to eat this on Tuesday or Monday and Tuesday next week. And then let's say we're going to eat this one. What I do? Oh, so Wednesday and Thursday. So start date is Wednesday and Thursday. Close. Okay, so then if we go over to calendar view, then we can see, let me go to July. Then we can see what our menu is, right? And then you can have like lunch. So you could even, I didn't do it this way, but you could even break the statuses down for like breakfast for the week, lunch for the week, dinner for the week. And so then when you looked at the calendar view, the purple status, you would have 3 statuses. So maybe purple is lunch and then pick other colors for breakfast and dinner. And then you can see what you have going on for the week, right? And then the way you do that would just be to change the list statuses. So if you want like, oops, not there. And then let's change this to lunch. And we'll put the grocery list down here and hit save. So now what I'm going to do is, let's say, this is dinner and that's lunch. Let's just say, for example, pasta salad's breakfast. Not that, no, that's not probably normal, but anyway. And so you can also use the tags to help organize your meal ideas, because let's say you have just a bunch of meal ideas, then you can use the tags to help organize it. But let's just say, for example, this is your, so let's give it a date. Maybe we're going to eat the pasta salad all week. So let's give it, okay. And, okay, so now let's look at the calendar. Go to July. So now you can see like all week long, right? So that might be another way to do it. Okay, so that's meal planning. I do recommend having and I pinned this view because I thought the calendar would be helpful. All you do to do that, you can just remove it as the pinned view, and then here's the list view. So I do recommend having the link to the recipe in here because it makes it super easy to open up, and you can use the app on your phone if you're at the grocery store and need to see your list, or you are cooking and you have maybe just an iPad or your phone or something and need to see the recipe. You can just go into your ClickUp app, open the recipe. So then what I did is I created the grocery list. I put the date of the grocery list here, and then I just put exactly what I needed and the measurements. I just copy and paste them from the recipe. And then you could use this as your, as your grocery list. If you're trying to track how much you're paying for groceries, you could also add a custom field here for like money, to track how much you spent if that's something you're doing. So you just go to money, and then you could just say spent, or something like that. And then you'd be able to put in how much you spent on groceries if that's something that you wanted to do, to track that. And let's say we spend $100. So then over here, you'd add the custom field spent. And then if you have the unlimited plan, then you can actually calculate columns. So you could see over a month, over 2 months, over 3 months, what you spent on groceries if you wanted to track that. So that's one way of using it, or second way. And then I'm going to show you a garden plan. So here's an idea for a way to manage a garden. Now, I don't know what area you're going to be in. I'm in zone 7, so I just used some examples from my zone. And this will depend if you're starting from seed or if you're putting plants in the ground, but I just put some examples here. Now, you can look at this in list view, but what I guess for this, I prefer to see it in the board view. And once you put some due dates on these, like if you look at the month and say, okay, March, I'm going to start planting seeds, you can say, okay, this weekend in March, I'm going to plant them. And you can actually put due dates in here to look at the calendar view. But right now I don't have anything due. I didn't put a due date, so looking at the calendar view wouldn't be very helpful. You could look at your calendar and place things. So like unscheduled, we can place, when we're going to do that. If you want to look at your calendar with what you have going on, that might be a good way of doing it. So I'm just going to remove this date here because I don't want it. Okay. So you could use the calendar view to plan. So if like, okay, it's in March and on, the first weekend of March, I have something going on, but I can plant seeds the next weekend, then you can drag and drop all the unscheduled tasks into when you have available in the month of March, right? So, but for organization, like to get started, this is what I did. So, I use tags here. So like plant the seeds in March, indoors. So there's a difference between indoors, outdoors, obviously, and then when to harvest them. So what I would do is once I planted them, I would move it over to June to let me know that that's when I need to harvest them. That's how I would probably do it. Now, could you do it, could you put it over here, like just create a new task to say harvest the carrots? Sure. I think that, I don't know. I think that this would be a good way to keep organized as far as like when you need to do things. And then I just, as the statuses, I used the months as the statuses for across the top. Now, could you just use tags for statuses or for when to do it, and statuses are, to do, in progress, complete, something like that? Sure. I just felt like, I don't know, this was an easy way to kind of visually see what's going on. And then for the the inactive status, what I used is for guidelines. So typically, when is the last frost? When's the first frost? Those are important when you're planting to know when that's going on. And then the seeds indoors, they should go in the ground in 4 to 6 weeks. And then just in here, you could use custom fields to put links to resources or directions on planting. It just, however you would want, like if you have directions, like I use some, so I put a custom field here for information. So, maybe you do a bunch of research and you have websites that you want to add here. You could put them in the custom field. And then if you're looking at it in the list view, you can add a column called information, which would then show you, like I added a couple here. So this will have, for corn, these are just a website I found that tells me how to plant the corn, when to harvest it, how to harvest it, those kinds of things. So you can use that there as a quick reference to different websites. So if I was, you can do it the other way so you can look at it here. I would probably move these to the, you know what, now that maybe I would duplicate them and put them in June or whatever, May, whenever they're to be harvested. So that way I can see kind of what I have going on. You can see, inside the task, you do see like the actions taken. So you can go back and see kind of what was going on. The other great thing is in a description, you can put like, it did well, it didn't do well, next time do this, like notes to yourself for next time. So put the carrots in on the far left side of the garden. They didn't do well. Next year, I want to try the far right side, something like that. I want to plant the seeds earlier. So you can put all those notes and stuff inside the task so you can find them next year, when you're starting to garden. So that is gardening. And then the last example I have is the habit tracker. So this is just one way of doing it. I personally think that this would be the better way than having just a list of tasks that I want to do, because I want to see sort of the history of what I'm doing. So if, let's say you have goals. Now, I have it set up here so that way I can see the goals. So 21 days of, I don't know, meditating, 2 times per day or something like that, right? And then so I can see what my goal is. This is an inactive status, so it's not like there's no action being taken. But here's my daily tracker. And what I have here is I have it set to recur every day, including weekends. Now, the thing that I changed inside of create new task options is I removed the description and I removed the custom fields, because I want the custom fields to be empty, or not have anything in them when it creates the task for the next day. I have it recur forever. You could have it recur for 21 days, if you're trying to do something like that, or just forever, and then update to do, and on schedule. So instead of doing it when it's closed, I have it doing it on schedule. You don't have to do that. That's just what I set up. I would just like to see, because if I miss one, I kind of want to see that I missed one. But I don't know. It doesn't, I think you could do it either way. Okay. So the other thing that I have here is custom fields are the habits that I want to track, the ones that I want to instill. So drinking water, how many liters did I drink? Work out, how many minutes? Journal, meditate, walk dog, right? If those are the things that I'm trying to instill or trying to adapt or have in my daily routine, then I need to do that. You could even break this down to morning routine or evening routine. And then the other thing that I like about doing it this way is that I can keep a journal here of my daily journal, right? and I can take notes on how I'm feeling, what's going on, how I'm feeling about, if I missed a day or, something like that. I can keep track of that. And then I'm going to now I can go back and look at each day and see what's going on. You could even add a custom field of, mood, how you're doing, those kinds of things. Whatever it is that you're trying to implement into your schedule. All the research I've done says that habits take 21 days to to solidify. So having, looking back and being able to count 21 days that you've done it and keeping track, I think that's helpful. So those are just a few ways of being able to use ClickUp for personal use. Again, if you have ideas that I didn't think of, or you're not sure how to organize something in ClickUp, feel free to put it in the comments. And I will, I'll think about it. And if I can come up with a way, I will absolutely share it. Make sure you subscribe to catch our future videos. I hope this was helpful. Like, comment, subscribe, and again, my name's Amalie. I'm with Systematic Excellence Consulting. There is a link below to book a free call if you're looking for some additional one-on-one support to get into ClickUp, getting organized in ClickUp. Feel free to book that call and we can connect. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.